Well, in a moment, the results of our special poll. But first, while tonight's historic leaders' debate was taking place, we were able to monitor second by second the reactions of a special panel of voters 10 miles up the road from here in Bolton. Special because they hadn't decided which way to vote and they live in Bolton's marginal constituencies. That makes our panel Britain's most wanted, as Chris Shipp reports.
Earlier this evening, we brought together the most important people in this election. Not the three-party leaders, but a panel of the undecided. Bolton must go blue for David Cameron to win. At Braitment Leisure Centre, we tracked our voters' thoughts. Each has a handset. They press 1 when they dislike what they see, 2 for neutral, 3 for approve. Their collective opinions are reflected by this graph, hidden from view. In our newsroom, we watched the debate and the graph on the same screen. First, the introductions. Nick Clegg, mild approval. David Cameron, not dissimilar. Yet when Gordon Brown started to speak, our graph went negative for the first time.
And this is the defining year.
And so that pattern remains for the first topic on immigration. Watch as David Cameron says immigration is too high.
These last 10 years, and it does need to come down. I think the pressures that we've put on housing and health and education have been too great.
But as Gordon Brown insists immigration is falling...
Well, let's be honest with each other. Net inward migration is falling.
So too did our graph.
And it's falling this year.
It was a Conservative government that removed the exit control, so we knew...
The Liberal Democrat leader attacked both his opponents.
That's what the Labour government then followed up on.
To the approval of our panel.
I feel David Cameron was probably the strongest, his mannerisms and his body language.
MP's expenses is the big talking point in my pub, came the question. Here, there was a clear leader.
You blocked it, you blocked it. You wanted to protect the paymasters.
I think we have every right to remove our MP.
In the education debate, it was an old-fashioned principle, which played well.
And that is good discipline in our schools.
And watch our graph as it climbs and climbs some more.
By student.
On the economy, Mr Cameron went first and our panel was unmoved.
We've got to get this economy growing.
So would the big debate of this election be Gordon Brown's strength or weakness?
Take thousands of millions out of the economy now. Take 6 billion out of the economy now and think of the risk to jobs and businesses.
Perhaps at best inconclusive, but here is proof that talk of cutting benefits might cut support.
Ending the Child Trust Fund, which gives £250 to all 18-year-olds. I'd love to give everybody £250, but I just don't think...
That was the first negative territory for some time. By the end, each leader had 90 seconds to close.
I know many of you think that all politicians are just the same.
We've got to make a decision about whether we put funds into the economy.
And I would say, choose hope over fear.
For Britain's most wanted in Bolton, the debate did not help them make up their minds. We asked, though, who came out on top. Nick Clegg did it for them. Chris Shipp, ITV News.
Still to come on tonight's programme, what you, the voter, has made of the debate.
Yes, Julie, we have a result from our instant poll of 4,000 people. They have picked a clear winner. We'll bring you that result when we come back in less than a minute.
Welcome back. Well, it isn't just the debate that is a first. Here on ITV News at 10, we're doing something that hasn't been done before, getting instant reaction to a live news event, like on The X Factor, only faster. The results on which party leader seem to have the X Factor tonight are starting to come in, and our senior correspondent, James Mates, is monitoring those results. James.
Yes, Julie, we have those results. It's a sample of 4,000 people. It's been properly weighted and calibrated, and these are the results. First up, and most importantly, of course, which party leader do you think won the debate tonight? And there we have it, a clear victor. Nick Clegg, he was the bookies' favourite, 43%, comfortably ahead of David Cameron, who had the highest expectations, I think, laid on him before this debate. Gordon Brown, well, they tried to lower expectations on Gordon Brown, and they may have been justified in doing that. 20%, 1 in 5. Only 10% of you, 11%, I'm sorry, only about 1 in 10, thought that none of the leaders did well enough to be called the overall winner. We asked other questions too. Which leader would you trust more to make any necessary cuts in public services? Well, let's have a look at those figures. And there we have a dead heat. Nick Clegg, David Cameron on 36%. Gordon Brown, and this, of course, should have been his issue. It may explain why he was trailing in third in that overall question of who won, just on 28%. Our pollsters also asked about immigration. It was the very first issue to be raised in the debate. Who won on that crucial issue of immigration? It's coming. They're still crunching the numbers now. I'm assured they're on the way. There they are. Conservatives there, 37%, traditionally a strong one from them. The Lib Dems, 35%. Again, Labour there in third place on 20%, with 8% thinking none of them did it. So those are the headlines of our poll. We have many other questions that were asked. They are poring over those, the number crunchers now. We'll have a closer look at those on tomorrow night's News at 10. But for tonight, the big news, well, it's what you can see here, I hope, is that Nick Clegg comfortably won tonight's debate. Julie.
And I think we're crossing straight over to Mark.
Well, joining me now to assess how their leaders did are three senior members of each of the parties: George Osborne for the Conservatives, Chris Huhne for the Lib Dems, and Alan Johnson for Labour. 50 seconds each. Time is tight. Who do you think won and why? And you can be honest. George Osborne.
Look, I thought it was a great debate. I thought David Cameron did incredibly well. He was direct, he was personal, and he looked like someone ready to be Prime Minister. And on a whole range of issues, the NHS, the economy, social care, yes, immigration, school discipline, I thought he spoke from the heart, talked about the values and the personal life experiences that had brought about those values, and I think will have connected with the British people.
Did he perform fully to expectation, do you think?
Yeah, I thought, David went in there saying, I want to talk directly to the British people. And, you had Gordon Brown attacking, and so on. But this is a man who's been Chancellor and Prime Minister for 13 years. Attacking in the way he did, I didn't think it was very prime ministerial. Whereas David showed he was ready to lead this country.
Chris Huhne, your man was favourite. How do you think he did?
Well, I think he did exactly as your poll says. I mean, the public's judgment, I think, is the right one. I was hoping that he would come into this debate and really show the commitment and the passion that he's got for making a real difference. And what the poll for you shows is very interesting, is that actually as many people thought that Nick Clegg won as thought both David Cameron and Gordon Brown. The Labour Conservative nexus that's been running this country for years actually one put together. So what Nick showed is a real difference with the old party politics, and that's something which I think...
Trident, did he win?
Oh, I think very clearly he spelled out that we cannot afford to have a Cold War system which is designed to flatten St. Petersburg. When the Cold War ended in 1989, we've got to make sure that our troops have the proper body armour to actually be able to fight in Afghanistan and protect themselves, and that they deserve a good deal. I think he came across extremely well.
Let's be honest, Nick Clegg didn't have much to lose, did he?
Oh, absolute. All the party leaders had a massive amount to lose, and I think what Nick, any of them could have fallen flat on their face. I don't think anybody did fall flat on their face, but what Nick did communicate was the real passion and the differences between our position and both the position of the Labour Party and the Conservative Party. I think people want a really new, different politics, not just changing the people on the back seat of the ministerial limousine, but a real change in politics.
Okay, Alan Johnson.
I thought it was Clegg on style, Brown on substance. I thought Cameron actually would do better on the style side. I think he was out-styled by Clegg. Of course, traditionally, the reason why the incumbent has never gone on these debates is they've got the most to lose. I think Gordon did very well. I think there was real meat in what he had to say. And having been at the other end of this every week on PMQs, it was an opportunity. George spoke about his attacking the others. It's the first chance he's really had to ask questions of them on their policies. And I think that showed both on the unilateral nuclear on the abandoning our nuclear deterrent, I think Clegg struggled on police numbers that Cameron struggled on, the fact that Clegg did a lot on immigration but never spoke about the amnesty for asylum seekers. He picked and
took a hit on national insurance. You did take a hit on national insurance, didn't you?
Well, I don't think we did, actually. I mean, we'll look to see how the statistics out. But what Gordon has to be is not worry about where it comes on the popularity scale. It's just tell it what it is. This is a difficult decision. We wish we hadn't had to make that decision. But without that, as Chris and I agree, but George disagrees, you can't make those sums add up.
All right. George Osborne, Chris Huhne, Alan Johnson, thank you very much.